Another point that I want to make here, because it's in the outline that we share that kind of guides us, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But one of the things that was really jarring from the New York Times story on Monday night that served as the catalyst to get Gruden to resign was the email he sent to Bruce Allen criticizing the league for pressuring the Rams to draft Michael Sam, who was the first prospective NFL player who was openly gay. He never played in an NFL regular season game. He was with the Rams in the preseason. He was on the Cowboys practice squad. And there are many who believe that as the draft was coming to a conclusion, Roger Goodell got on the phone with Jeff Fisher, who was the Rams coach at the time, and they brokered a deal. And Fisher took Michael Sam because Goodell did not want Sam to go undrafted.
Right.
Now, Fisher issued a statement on Twitter yesterday denying that. But regardless, that was significant because on Jon Gruden's team, the first openly gay player to play in a regular season game. And I mention that because, and I remember this now, Chris.
Yeah.
When Carl Nassib came out in June, Gruden's statement was, I learned a long time ago that what makes a man different is what makes him great. And I remember sitting in this seat being confused by like, what does that even mean? And why are we underscoring that he's different? It was just a weird comment for him to make. And I remember thinking, that's a weird comment. And I remember saying, that's a weird comment.
Right.
And I remember feeling bad for saying that's a weird comment, but that was my honest and authentic reaction. That's a weird comment. And to know what we know now, maybe it's not so weird.
Yeah. Again, there's some sort of, especially with some of the old school NFL coaches, there's a little bit of a stigma there with these type of conversations. And I hear you. I believe he made a statement again and made the similar statement like not long after that. I don't really know what that means either. You're right. It's not the most comforting thing. And especially now when you look back at it, certainly, you kind of do. You go, what does that mean? Yeah. But where I think a lot of coaches in the last 20 years have changed and realized, of course, society's changed. The conversation around a lot of these issues as far as gay, lesbian, and all the other, transgender and all of that has changed the NFL in a lot of ways. It really has.
But not nearly enough.
Not nearly enough. No, definitely not. And I let me just say one more thing. And then I do think a lot of coaches just kind of came to the conclusion too, wait, the chances are that we do have a gay player in our locker room,
I think they've known that for a while. How could they not know that? How could they not realize that? Are they that
they're that meatheady for a long time. Yeah, it's football. We're tough. This is what we do, and we're all men, and that was the thought for a long time. I'm not
I'd
saying
like to
it's
think
anymore.
that we're at a point where we all are who we are, and we can all be who we are,
sure,
and we can all exist together as we are without judgment or scorn or ridicule. We are who we are, and we've gotten to that point, and it's good that we're at that point. Whatever you are, whoever you are, however you are, you're part of the broader society, and we all are in this together. And hopefully this is one of those moments that if there's anyone who's holding out from growing and developing and maturing in that way, it kind of pulls them over that river and, into the boat with the rest of us. All right, here's an important lingering
Not everybody's
issue.
in that boat. I'm just going to tell you that.
Oh, I know.
Okay?
I know. But maybe this will get
with
him in the boat.
Well, I played with players that I could tell you.
For everybody.
Right.
We just got to pull them into the boat if we can.
I know. There's a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, religions, and all of that in the NFL to where, listen, even at the end of my career, I remember some comments in the locker room by guys being like, what? That's what you think about that subject? And I'm not trying to accuse anybody. I'm just telling you, yes, it's whittling away that culture in the NFL, but it's still there to some degree, as we're seeing, right now and right in front of our face.
Another important unanswered question that people are focused on, which I think is good, because usually it's hard to get people to care about some of these nuances that I think are important. This is a nuance that I think is very important that people are locked onto. How did we even find out about the Gruden emails to Bruce Allen when there are 650,000 emails that were generated as part of the Washington football team investigation. They were buried under 300 feet of reinforced concrete, never to be seen again. The NFL pulled that one off back in early July, and no one said boo. There was some dust up. The Washington Post had some criticism of it. We criticized it. But by the time we got to the other end of the 4th of July weekend, everybody had moved on.
Right.
Nobody cared. But now, because someone dipped into that reservoir of documents and selected a small handful of them, and they were used to get Jon Gruden to resign from his post as the head coach of the Raiders, people are wondering how this came to be.
Yeah.
How were these documents leaked?
Right.
Who wanted them out? Who did it? And Peter King and I had a fairly spirited discussion about this yesterday because I firmly believe the league did it. I firmly believe the league did it. I've been saying it from the get-go. I got zero pushback from anyone. I've seen no statement from the league saying, for example, and let me tell you, Peter's idea is, well, what if there was some rogue investigator with the league who decided, I'm appalled by these emails that Jon Gruden sent, I'm going to leak these. Well, first of all, there had to have been some other appalling emails that would have been leaked too. How does it become focused on Jon Gruden? And secondly, if someone connected to the league did this against the authorization of the league, against the policies of the league, against this very broad confidentiality the NFL has applied to everything related to the Washington football team investigation, the league should be pissed, and the league should say so.
Of course.
We do not authorize. We do not condone. We are dismayed that someone violated the confidentiality of the Washington football team investigation and provided these documents to the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. But no. It's been crickets. There's been no show of frustration or discouragement or disapproval of what happened. So if it did happen, where's the NFL in saying this was wrong? And let me just say one more thing, Chris.
Yeah.
I say that because yesterday I sent an email to Brian McCarthy on an unrelated question that relates to this broader situation, but it has nothing to do with who leaked what or when. And he, in responding to me, added, oh, by the way, we didn't leak these, despite your suggestion. And my response was, oh, are you investigating who did? And that was 5 o'clock Eastern yesterday, and I haven't gotten a response to that email. And that part was on the record. I always respect on the record and off the record communication. That was on the record.
Right.
I asked him, are you investigating who did? Because you had them, NFL. They had them.
Yeah.
Now, and somebody said to me last night, well, maybe the Raiders did it after they sent them to the Raiders. Well, okay, then say that the Raiders engaged in the unauthorized leak, or we're investigating whether the Raiders did. But it's crickets. It's crickets. All it is we didn't do it. But there's nothing that would suggest that they are upset and trying to find out who did. And this is important because it brought down Jon Gruden, even though he deserved it.
Yeah.
Even though he deserved it.
Right.
Whoever did it has the power to end careers. And let me say one more thing.
Yeah.
Because this is extremely important, and folks need to understand this. There are still 650,000 emails.
Right.
And whoever did it to Jon Gruden could do it to someone else.
Of course.
And I'm not saying they wouldn't deserve it, but think about the power that person has.
Sure.
They can end another career. They can blackmail someone into resigning, and we'll never even know that those documents were going to be released. This is a very troubling thing. This is a powerful weapon. You know, we hear that phrase all the time, well, if that falls into the wrong hands, it already has. Fallen into the wrong hands. Someone has weaponized these confidential emails and brought down Jon Gruden.
All right, so I mean, listen, I can get behind that the NFL didn't release these. I mean,
I can't.
We don't know that. I understand that. I'm
common sense, logic. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay. I mean, I hear you with the common sense or logic, but here's like other common sense and logic to where I would think they wouldn't want. You know, first off, they don't want this this conversation to dominate the league right now. This doesn't do anything positive for the NFL. It makes it look like there's still a bunch of meat sticks who have a lot of like issues with society. That's not a good look. So I don't think the NFL was like, let's do this. I don't, nor to the point like what you're talking about where, this guy has a lot of power. I can't imagine that the 32 owners would want to invite this and open Pandora's box on this stuff either. So from that standpoint, I tend to think that, yeah, somebody in the NFL offices, maybe a lawyer that was related to all of this somewhere down the line. I don't know. I don't know how many people got involved with, in the league office, outside law firms. All right.
Not many.
Well, I know. And, in the NFL, for them not to answer, I'm sure I would think they're pissed and they're trying to get to the bottom of, like, what happened here. Because, again, I mean, we nobody's talking about the NFL football right now anywhere on any TV. So I don't think the NFL wanted this to dominate their league in week 6 of the NFL season. And that's where I can somewhat think like, yeah, I don't think this was an NFL calculated thing. I do think there was some source connected to this whole thing who decided to maybe go rogue or expose Jon Gruden this way.
I don't want to get too far off the track, but do you remember how the bounty scandal unfolded in March of 2012?
I don't know if I do exactly. No,
okay.
You have to refresh
I
my
do.
memory. Yeah.
I lived it.
Right.
I lived it
right.
every step of the way because I was stunned because my initial reaction then was the same as your reaction now. Why in the hell is the NFL putting out there that one of its franchises was engaged in this practice of incentivizing players with cash to inflict injury on opponents? Why are they being so open about this? Why are they exposing this? Now, it wasn't during the season, but it was when it all came to a head. It came to a head in March of 2012. And the NFL's motivation, I believe then, was to clean up the sport,
sure,
to show that they're doing what they have to do to make the game safer. And I think the motivation here is to clean things up as it relates to this kind of toxic communication. And, Chris, let's go back to last week, and this has gotten lost over the course of the past couple of days.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible this began as they recognized the threat to D. Smith, who was facing a vote on which his future with the NFL Players Association would hinge on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Right.
That became obvious on Wednesday of last week. By Thursday, this was in motion with the emails being sent to the Raiders, with the Wall Street Journal poking around and asking questions of Gruden and the Raiders. And I think this got put in motion. I think the NFL is smart enough to know, number one, what the NFLPA Constitution sets forth by way of dates when various things happen in advance of the expiration of the executive director's contract. They knew the general timetable. They knew they needed to be ready to go. And when they perceived the threat to DeMaurice Smith, they mobilized. And the Frankenstein monster kind of ran out of the lab and took over the town. That's the best possible metaphor I can come up with. But it took on a life of its own. And also, as they saw more of what was there and decided that they needed to do something about it and people leaked more of it, whoever was leaking it, that's, at some point it changed from, my theory is it changed from we got to save D. Smith's job to we got to keep going after Jon Gruden until he's out of the league. And maybe it was both from the get-go. Maybe they knew if they ever had to mobilize to save D. Smith, they were going to take down Jon Gruden. I don't know. But look, bottom line, if this was not authorized or conducted by the league, if someone went rogue here, the league should be alarmed and the league should not be silent. The league should be saying, we had a breach by someone in a position of trust and we will investigate and we will hold that person accountable because confidentiality is critical. That they refuse to continue to release any other information about this because of the confidentiality of the entire investigation. Well, they just undermined it, either directly or indirectly. Somebody undermined the confidentiality. So either they did it or they should be extremely pissed that someone did. There's no middle ground.
Well, yeah, yes, agreed. But, the NFL doesn't make comments like that. They don't. That's where, they're a little different that way. I mean, we'd like to them address a lot other situations, more aggressively. That's not exactly what they always do there. I just can't get behind. I don't know. My thought at a base level is just the NFL can't be this stupid to think that they were going to release these emails and that a controversy wasn't going to start up and then people were going to want to know the rest of the emails. I mean, this is the type of thing that could really crush the sport. If we start to find out emails.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
Gosh, you can lose.
It won't crush the sport.
Well,
it won't crush the sport.
It's going to crush.
The sport will keep going.
Well, I know it will, but it's going to crush their pockets. They're going to lose. They're going to lose portions of society if we start to hear more and more emails like this that are bashing, certain, gay, lesbian, anything like that, black people.
No. You got it twisted upside down.
Why?
This is how you show that you've changed. This is how you show that you're inclusive, by cleaning up the mess.
Really?
You're
If you have like 20
action.
owners and a bunch of other people that are also involved,
it's not going to be 20 owners. Well, here's the reality. Look, and this is whether it happened intentionally or accidentally, they got a mess, and they chose to send to the Raiders the Jon Gruden emails. They chose to do that. Okay, that's separate from leaking.
Yeah,
to the
I got
media.
you there. Right.
And they decided that they were sufficiently alarmed by Jon Gruden's emails to prepare a package of them and deliver them to Mark Davis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Regardless of who said what to the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times.
Right.
The NFL put the process in motion, sent it to the Raiders, and Shefty said Monday night that the NFL isn't taking any action against Jon Gruden. They're waiting to see what the Raiders do. And when you look at the strength of the statement that the NFL issued about those emails condemning them, and when you look at the fact that Gruden eventually resigned, what did the NFL want? The NFL wanted him out. The NFL wanted him out.
Well, yeah, of course they did, because they knew this was already out and this was going to come out.
Okay, no, Chris, no. The leaks didn't start until after the NFL put together the package of emails and sent them to Mark Davis. My point is this. This got set in motion by the league against Jon Gruden before anything was leaked to the media. All the NFL had to do was say, these 650,000 emails are confidential. We're not using them for anything. So this is where the lines are getting a little bit blurred here as we focus on leaks. Even if the league didn't leak it, the league pulled the cord on the lawnmower and took the emails out of that underground sarcophagus of 650,000 emails and sent some of them to Mark Davis. So if we set aside the issue of the leak, we have to say, what is the league going to do about other emails in there that relate to other people who may be implicated? Are we going to be fair here? Why is it only Jon Gruden that had the dossier of emails sent to his boss with an eye toward getting Gruden out? Who else is in a similar position based on using similar language, who also, in fairness to Gruden and in fairness to the story and in fairness to the investigation, should have a similar outcome? That's what's so sinister about this, that the league decided we got to take action.
All right, so wait, let me just
we got to send these emails to the Raiders.
All right, wait, let me get behind this for a second. And maybe because listen, I know you're smarter than me. I'm dumb blonde football guy from northern New Jersey. But like, okay, the original story about the rubber lips of DeMaurice Smith, right? Okay.
All right. Yes. You don't need to go that far, but yes.
Okay. So where did it go?
Here's what happened.
Right. How did that start?
Here's what happened.
Yeah, go ahead. Right.
The NFL collected the emails that Jon Gruden sent to Bruce Allen that were offensive and troubling and disparaging and racist, homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, and sent them to the Raiders. The NFL did that.
Okay.
The NFL wasn't sparked to do it because one piece of paper ended up with the Wall Street Journal. The piece of paper went to the Wall Street Journal after the NFL decided to send the package of materials to the Raiders.
So you're saying
the process was in motion.
It wasn't
before anything was leaked.
Even with that first one, it was okay.
It was already in motion. The cat was already out of the bag.
Okay,
as
that's
far as
where
the
I
Raiders
wasn't
and the
sure.
NFL were
Okay,
concerned.
and I wasn't trying to be offensive. I was just trying to be specific about that first email, and I wasn't trying to offend anybody there.
I know.
Okay, so.
I'm just trying to draw boundaries.
I know you are. I know you're Johnny Lawyer, and you're trying to protect us so we don't get thrown in jail or get fired here. And I appreciate it. You need to
protect you.
You need to check me, right? Please do, counselor. Please. Okay, so that's where I wanted. Maybe I was confused with that aspect. I thought maybe this was leaked first. And then it was like, wait, this is leaked, and oh no, here's all these other emails. Let me send them to the Raiders now because this is an issue. So you're saying
Chris,
it was already sent in motion. I got you.
Chris,
Yeah.
And think about this.
Yeah.
The NFL did the investigation. The NFL collected the emails.
Sure.
They knew about this for months.
I knew they did.
They knew about the Gruden emails for months, and they know about all the other emails.
Yeah.
And so last week, they put together the packet of emails. They send them to the Raiders. One of them conveniently or coincidentally gets leaked just hours before DeMaurice Smith is facing the vote that will determine whether or not he stays in his job. The email attacking him personally lands then.
Gotcha.
And then, so we've got two different realities here. And maybe who leaked it is irrelevant. The point is the NFL saw fit to select a small group of documents from 650,000 and use them to bring down Jon Gruden. Period. Now, the fact that they were leaked publicly Monday night to the New York Times and reported made it a foregone conclusion he was walking away. But there may have been a good chance he was walking away anyway because his boss saw all of these. And I still think there would have been more provided to the Raiders and more would have been leaked if Gruden hadn't walked away. My point is this.
Yeah.
We got 650,000 other documents there.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the NFL Players Association petitioning for all of them to be released. I've said, and others have said, they should all be released. Lawyers who represent more than 40 former employees of the Washington football team issued a statement last night saying that these should all be released. And I wish there was some legal mechanism. I did some spitballing about this yesterday. You know, to the extent that a stadium is publicly funded, is there some way to activate the Freedom of Information Act and say that these emails, this investigation, this trove of documents and information must be released publicly? I doubt that there's any legal proceeding that could spark all of these documents being released, but there's a lot of people who believe they all should be released. I just think they should be released because it is a very powerful weapon for the NFL to have where they can bring down others potentially. We don't know and we won't know until we see all of them. But it's scary to me to think the power the NFL has or someone who has access to those documents may have to bring down people who are implicated by those documents, and we currently don't know and won't know until they're all released.
I mean, can anybody really do anything here to make sure they do get released? I mean, that's where, I mean, what's
public pressure?
Yeah, public pressure. I don't think anything's going to make them buckle with this one. I don't. I have a hard time thinking we'll ever get to that point. Just, again, I don't know anything. I'm just, my years of being obsessed with the NFL and experience there, I think they're just going to deal with the public pressure, and I don't think we'll ever see these emails.
And my thought yesterday, Chris, when I was trying to come to that same conclusion, and I think I'm at the same spot you are, that doesn't make me any less motivated to try.
Yeah.
But, you know, they can't go to that well again. You can't have 3 weeks from now a general manager or a coach of another team, oh, look, this person also sent emails to Bruce Allen, and they get sent to the team, and a page or two gets leaked, and then that person resigns. I don't think they can do that again. But what they can do is, and I'm being realistic here, and I'm not accusing anyone of engaging in any improper activities. I'm just saying that the current circumstances makes it a possibility. Someone could approach another coach or a GM or someone else connected to the league and say, we found these emails in the 650,000 documents that were generated in the Washington football team investigation. And we want you to see them, and we want you to decide what you're going to do about it.
Yeah.
And it may be more subtle than that, but Jon Gruden's example may be all that it takes for someone to take early retirement, to resign,
I hear that,
to pursue other interests, to spend more time with their family before they get embarrassed by having these materials released. That's potentially
scary.
Out there.
Yeah.
Until we see all the documents, that's potentially out there, and that's all the more reason for people to keep pushing the NFL to put them all out there, because someone's got a hell of a lot of power right now, potentially. And I think that power needs to be diluted. And the only way to do it is just put everything on the table now and be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I don't imagine that happening. I mean, I agree with everything you said.
We wouldn't know if it did.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know if it did.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Wouldn't know if it did.
I'm sure there's some people who are uncomfortable who have sent emails to the Washington football team over the last 10, 12 years. Definitely. But, man, I don't envision the NFL releasing these documents and opening this conversation to a greater capacity to where it just takes the league and the news cycle by storm. I don't see that happening.
You touched on something very important, though, that we had yet to discuss. And I know this for a fact. I've heard this from people I know and people that I trust. There are a lot of nervous folks throughout the league who did communicate with Bruce Allen.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And, because people were saying yesterday, oh, there's a lot of email scrubbing going on in the NFL. Well, maybe there is, but the ones that can't be scrubbed are the ones that are already in the 650,000.
Yeah, that's
Nothing
right.
you can do about that.
Right.
They've already been harvested. They're already on a thumb drive or printed out or whatever they do. I don't know what they do, but they're there. They're part of the record of evidence that's been generated by that investigation. And it's not just emails sent and received by Bruce Allen. It's anyone who worked for the organization during the 10-year period, 12-year period, however far back they went. Anybody who had an email account, anyone, executives, coaches, anyone. So it doesn't matter whether or not you even knew or liked Bruce Allen or ever even talked to him. You've got the former name of the team.com domain name that was in your emails. And if you weren't, discreet, and if you allowed poison to emerge from your fingertips and be typed into emails in that setting, those emails are in there too.
Yeah.
And you're one of the ones that, without notice, without warning, could be brought down by, 4 or 5 sheets of paper that get selectively leaked to the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times, or put into a packet and sent to your boss, your current boss, with an unspoken desire that the end result be you don't work there anymore. So that again, there's just something about that, and it's not excusing the behavior. There's something about the league or someone in the league or someone connected to the league having that power that scares the S-T out of me.
Yeah.
Because that's a power that no one should have, Chris.
Yeah, I hear you there 100%. And as scared as you are, I'm sure there's a lot of other people in the NFL that are even more scared than you.
And I'm not scared. I didn't send Bruce Allen an email.
It's just scary to see somebody with that power, right?
And most people, and that's the thing. See, because there's a lot of people out there who are justifiably thinking that 95% of the Bruce Allen emails are just like Jon Gruden's. I think it's a lot lower than that, because I think most people, number one, don't think that way, don't act that way, and aren't stupid enough to reduce it to writing.
Right.
In an email where they recognize that these systems are premised on saving things, not deleting things. But there's only one way to find out. Right. To put a pin in this for now, pending further developments, the only way to know whether Jon Gruden was the outlier or whether everyone acts like this or somewhere in between, there's only one way to find out. With the Packers, we find out every year their full financial picture.
Right.
And it's a slice of a 32-piece pie, but it gives us an idea of how the whole league is doing. Well, here we have a slice of a 32-piece pie on how things went in the Washington football team. Why not let us explore the full extent of that one slice to give us an idea of how things really work? Because right now we're in the dark. Right now all we know is Gruden. And I think that without more, the belief is going to linger that a hell of a lot of those documents contain very similar poison as the ones that we saw from Jon Gruden. So why not put it all out there?
Yeah, I hear you. I got nothing else to say. I'm talked out on the subject. But I'm with you. I don't think it's going to happen though. That would be my final thought.
But you know what? Just because we think it's not going to happen doesn't mean we shouldn't keep pushing.
Yeah,
I will, that. And I hope others will too.
Right.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.